Hi students, in this video I'm going to be explaining to you how you can use the I-squared method to make sense of this graph that you have received on your astronomy assessment. All right, so as a reminder, the I-squared method just simply means to identify different things that you see on the graph, changes, patterns, and differences, and then interpret what you think those things that you've identified might mean. And one strategy that we've been using in class is to begin by writing what I see. And we've been abbreviating this. Oops. We've been abbreviating this with a WIS. Okay, so that means what I see. So if I come over here, what I see, well, there's something I'm noticing here that's kind of interesting. I see this orange line, a blue line, and a green line. I see that they line up over here. Turns out Houston, Philadelphia, and Puerto Alegre are all cities. I look up here, I see this is the length of daylight in the north versus southern hemisphere. Okay, and then I see length of daylight in minutes and day number. Well, I know that there are 60 minutes in an hour, so this is going to be minutes, but I could translate that into hours if I wanted to. And then I know there's 365 days in a year, so this is about a third of the way, this is about 2/3 of the way, and this is about 3/3 of the way almost, right? So 365 days would be over here. Okay, so this part right here is kind of interesting to me where all of these lines are crossing. So I might write something like what I see all of the lines intersect at 2 points on the graph. Okay. Then I'll go ahead and put a box around that so you can see it. Then I need to point to where that's happening. So this is something that I'm noticing that's a difference from everything else, right? Like in everywhere else, they're all at different points. But there's one spot that happens twice where they all intersect or cross over each other. So I would do my arrow and I would just point right there. And then it's also happening over here. So I could take this arrow and point to it over here. All right. Then, well, what does that mean? So I need to respond to what I see, what I've identified, and I need to interpret what I think it means. All right, so I could duplicate this, and then right underneath, I would write a what it means, and I can abbreviate that WIM. And I would then describe, well, what's happening at these points where these intersect, and what do I think it means? So in this case, I might say something about this means that all of the cities, what do they seem to have in common? Okay. I need to do at least 3 what I see and at least 3 what I mean. Even if I don't totally understand this graph, I can still identify changes, differences, or patterns, and then try to say what I think they mean. I also wanted to point out some of us were a little bit confused about what this means along the bottom. So January has 31 days. So if I were going to maybe do a text box, I could say, and you do not need to add this on yours. I just want you to I want to try to help you understand how to read this x-axis. So, January is going to be about right here, probably a little smaller. Okay, so this is approximately where January would be. That's 31 days, but let's just abbreviate. Let's just say, it's about 30, okay? So then we'd have about 60 days. So this might be February until the end of February. And then 90 days would be to the end of March, roughly, okay? And then we'd have another 10 days. So this day 100 is sometime around April 10th-ish, okay? And I could continue to go through and understand that. As well, 600 minutes is going to be 6 hours because there are 60 minutes in an hour. Never mind, that's 10 hours. So if I wanted to interpret that, I could say, okay, so 60 times 10 is 600. So this 600 is really, a way I could think about it is that this is 10 hours. And again, I want to look at, well, what does that mean, right? So just interpreting 10 hours of what? And you would use your y-axis title here to figure that out. So this is just a way that you can use this strategy to try to figure out what's going on. The very last thing that you need to do is you're going to write a caption. And the caption is just a summary of what this graph is telling us. So this graph shows, boom, boom, boom. What's it showing us? And I know this because, and this is where you would explain the science ideas behind why we would see these different lines and some different things that we can infer. All right, good luck.